Right, we're recording.
All right, everybody, we're going to start this meeting. Today is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. I now call this meeting of the Madison College Student Senate General Assembly into order at 4:33 p.m. Thank you. At this time, I would like to say to you, welcome to our General Assembly meeting of the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and will be recorded for transparency and direct conversations. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To the senators and other members online, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. If it's possible, use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote as chair. As to call on committee members, the order in which hands are raised, lower your hands if you have the cue at this moment in time. Can I get a roll call?
Yes, I'm going to begin the roll call with Executive Council, President Jose Villarreal,
Present.
Vice President, Administration and Finance, Quinn Matson is present. Vice President, Legislative Affairs, Bradley Burke. Present. Thank you. Vice President of Team Development, Jofia Turner. Late. Late, thank you. Vice President, Public Relations, Ari Nichols. Present. Thank you. Advisor Cole. Present. I'll now move to General Senators. Senator Sanjay Jagadish.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Annette Crowder.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Ashley Larson.
Present.
Ashley. Senator Nandine Batulga.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Ayman Adam Sharafuddin.
Present.
Thank you. Senator Andy Moreno Portillo.
Excused.
Excused. Thank you, Cole. Senator Evan Sullivan Riddle.
Also excused.
Also excused. Senator Angel Avila.
Present.
Thank you, Angel. Glad to see you here. Senator Corey Sertzel.
Present.
Present. Thank you. Senator Sierra Brunner.
We're gonna go absent.
Thank you, Cole. Moving down to regional and metro campuses. Portland Senator John McCray.
Present.
Present. Thanks, John. Reedford
Thank
Senator
you.
Furkan Sindar.
Present.
Present. Watertown Senator is vacant. Port Atkinson Senator position is vacant. Goodman South Senator Joaquin Lariva.
Present.
Present. Thanks, Joaquin. We have met quorum.
We have a quorum. All right, with quorum being met, I would have approval of the previous meeting minutes. I'm gonna have VP Matson read out what we did last week.
Yeah, I'm not going to read all of our minutes, but I'm going to review these briefly. Cole's pulling them up on the screen right there, so you can all follow along. You may also have a paper copy in front of you if you're here in person. We did our opening ceremony of call to order, opening script. I did roll call, quorum was met. We did not approve the previous meeting minute because there were no previous meeting minutes at that meeting. We approved the agenda. And then we had public comment from a few people associated with enrollment. This is specifically directed at, or maybe more important for the nursing program that we have. These were the WTCS guidelines related to TCS 10 in Chapter 38 of Wisconsin statutes. I hope you all remember this. We talked a while about switching from petition admissions to waitlist admissions. They gave us some of their new terminology that they'd be using. And after some questions that Senate posed to our public commenters, we went through disclosures and refusals. We went through a team building activity, a hypothetical about time travel. We had reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees, updating the General Assembly on what has been going on. We had a split vote on donuts versus cookies. Looking for anything else of importance to note. No, there are a few reports as most of these meetings have not started and very little has been going on campus as of late. There was a little bit of talk about facilities planning and investment council. We had no unfinished business. We had some new business to talk about with Advisor Cole about the orientations that are coming up, and he gave us some understanding of what would go into that. We talked about the involvement fairs that are available for all of us to take part in if we want to here on Truax campus. So there might be one somewhere else. Did I remember that right?
Goodman South.
Goodman
But
South.
we're still ironing that out right now.
Yeah. Then we planned for this meeting. And then we adjourned at 6:16 p.m.
Okay, hearing that, thank you for that summary. Any discussion?
You have a hand raised online. Yep. And then, yeah, we'll go online and then we'll go to Senator Avila.
No,
So,
no,
Annette.
Yeah, just.
Senator Crowder has question.
Go ahead, Senator Crowder.
Move to approve.
Okay, Senator Crowder, motions to approve. Do I have a second? Senator Sanjay, seconds. We're going to vote by unanimous consent. That means if you do not consent for this to vote, just say aye. Or if you,
Tell him I said thank you.
if you agree, just don't say anything. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nothing online. Just passed. All right, let's get on to the meeting. Are you going to read public comments? Do we have any, Cole?
Oh, hold on. You missed one thing.
Read approval. Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and approve the agenda.
Yep, you're good. So
So we're going to go ahead and read out the agenda for you guys a little bit here before we get it approved. Everybody should have a copy. If you don't have a copy, let us know. Everybody online, it should be presented to you on the shared screen. So we're going to go over the reports of officers, standing committees, then we're going to move down to report to special and select committees, report to regional and metro campuses. Then we'll move on to reports to college assembly and shared governance councils. We'll conduct some unfinished business. I don't know at the time, Cole, if you know, do we have any new business?
No, so if it's not on the agenda, we don't have anything.
So the non-business housekeeping announcements, our next meeting will be on Thursday, July 10th in the health building. Complete lesson 4 plus 5 in Brightspace. After adjournment, stick around for discussion on lesson 3 for Brightspace course. And I will mention that the last part, C, we're going to emphasize that we're going to do some training here as a group. And that means senators online also. So reading the agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve it or discussion.
You have a hand online, Senator Crowder.
You have the floor, Crowder. Senator Crowder.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda, but I'd like to add an addition to new business. Just a couple minutes to touch on disability services and a meeting I had with Dr. Casper on Tuesday.
All right,
If
so noted,
that's acceptable.
Yeah, so it's acceptable as far as bylaws are concerned. Any discussion? Anybody online? Okay.
One over here.
Oh, Senator.
I just have a question for you, President. In regards to touching up on any discussions from like last week, because we didn't get a bunch of time to discuss our feelings about
Yep.
the chapter 10 WTCS installment, I suppose. Could we add a couple minutes to business just to discuss
So,
potentially
right,
what we could do?
right now,
Yes, first we need to
first we need to,
work on
Work on-
Nat's
and that's,
motion, and then we
motion.
can,
and then you can raise a motion to amend the amendment.
I can
For the
I can
agenda.
accept Corey's request, or sorry, I don't know, Senator, I'm gonna kill your name. I can accept that request into my motion, if that'll help simplify
fine.
things.
Are you fine with that?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. I'm gonna vote with the unanimous consent, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That motion passes. We will add that under new business. We say close about 5, 10 minutes.
yeah, just work on it. I'll get stuff situated.
All right, so let's get into it. We're gonna do public comments. We don't have anybody here for public comments. We're gonna go to disclosure and recusals. Does anybody have anything they want to disclose or recuse? Anybody online? Okay. We'll move on to, we're gonna skip team building for, this week. We want to save some more time for the end of the meeting to do some training. We figured that will tie into a little bit of our team building if we do it together. So reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees. I'll give you my executive council president report. We met. We did, a necessity, follow-up from our last agenda. We approved it. We have quite a bit, going on with the training. We want everybody to finish their training. We want to be equipped and ready to go. Summer's gonna end before you know it. As far as the executive council goes, we're concentrating on getting this training done and, getting into the swings of having motions and getting the correct email sent out and timely manner, knowing about open meeting laws and the timelines of that. So, we met, it was a good meeting, a quick meeting, and, the GA General Assembly meetings is something that we talk about very often. We set the agendas. So that's my report from the Executive Council. Any questions, discussion? Anything online? Okay. We're gonna go to administration. Got one online.
Senator Crawford.
Senator Crowder. Floor is yours.
Sorry, I have multiple screens up and I obviously am not very good with that at times.
Oh, fine.
I was just gonna ask, when you guys started having your meetings in the fall, can you post when they are? Because I know that we can attend the part that's like when you guys don't have something personal that you need to deal with. I just think it's important for all of us to understand that we're able to listen to those meetings and understand what's going on, especially if anyone's considering being an officer in the future.
Yep, I like that. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be a problem. We had to schedule out with our advisor Cole. He's the one that's gonna have that power to schedule them out and decide when we can open it up. So yeah, definitely something we can do.
And I know it's based around you
Yeah.
guys' schedule, but if it could just be something that we add to like the agenda in the future so that we know when they are, so we can just check in every now and then.
Yeah, it's a very important meeting. The E-team, we like to call ourselves, we meet and we set the agenda and we get everything ready. We do a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot that goes into this. So as it picks up in the fall, we'll be doing this a lot more because it'd be weekly meetings. But yeah, we'd love for you guys to come in and check it out and see how we work. Thank you. Is that everything, Senator Crowder? Okay. All right, well, it's enough taken. Let's go ahead and move on to our report from VP Mattson, Administration and Finance Committee.
Yes, as I shared last time, the Administration and Finance Committee is not yet meeting. As I said last time, I've talked with one or two senators who are interested in joining. And that will not be going on for another month or so, I think.
We won't make decisions or stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to update you briefly, not much to update, on progress made on logging hours. It seems easy enough to move to a system. For anyone who was aware of our system last year of putting your hours into an Excel sheet seems easy enough to switch to a survey. And that might make things a little bit easier. So during the school year, or whenever we are doing hours a bit more adamantly, you will all receive a weekly survey in your email. Assuming this is how we move forward with our reports, you'll receive an email survey and you'll fill it out saying when your hours were served, and then you'll submit it, and that'll be how you report your things. So it'll be like a elongated on Mondays. It's probably what we'll do again.
And if I remember reading correctly, there's gonna be a process where you screenshot and then you send it.
It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only for YouTube because I actually have to track your hours. I track your hours.
So disregard that.
The survey is real, but don't send me screenshots.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. Yeah, do not look behind the curtain. I have nothing more.
All right, nice report. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and move on down to our Legislative Affairs Committee.
Should we take in a moment for comment?
Questions? Oh, yep.
Questions?
Discussion, questions? Anybody online here?
Question online, Senator Crowder, when do we start logging hours?
This week, right?
No, we're not ready yet.
Not till you
Don't do
get
that
back,
to us.
right?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Gwen and I are meeting next week and we'll start getting that finalized with the dates because we're gonna do the migration over to the survey. We just need to iron out a few things and I have to do some test runs with it with some of the desk workers. So do not expect to start logging hours till after the 4th, most likely. I think that's when we started last year, even was after the 4th of July to make sure that everything was concrete. So we'll send out a notification email when it's about to start, and then the emails to complete the office hour log will either come from the Senate account or from Quinn directly. So yeah, for now, don't worry about it. We will have it up here sooner or later. Good question.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none online, seeing none in person, we're gonna move on down to our VP of Legislative Affairs Committee, VP Burt. What do you got for us, buddy?
Thank you. So I want to follow up with what I was talking about last week. And I really think it's important for the Legislative Affairs position to be reviewing Madison College policies, to be active, to be knowledgeable, to empower our student body, especially during times of town halls. So in this week's report, I'm just going to read it. It says, since last meeting, I requested we take up the issue regarding disability accessible content, mainly content volume outlined in the Madison College classroom policies. Volume meaning how much our instructors are requiring us to put out for work product. Well, what about instructor distraction of learning? This is what the document was that I brought forward. You know, with that high volume of content, that distracted my learning. I could not perform in that class. I could not meet demands because of disability accessibility. So according to our Madison College Student Senate advisor, my concerns would fall under human resources governance, and that we as Student Senate cannot get involved with my personal affairs. And I can see that. However, what I'm asking is that we do take up the issue of disability accessibility content, instructor conduct in the classroom. And in the past, I've come before public comment. This is not a new issue. 2 years ago with my honors literature review, I went before Student Senate public comment, and Cole and I are working on that. But what I did was I addressed my contract. And what we talked about was how big communication and the instructor's influence on the project took my project into an area that I didn't want it to go. And in that capacity, that was not that person's responsibility. So what I'm asking for us is to consider looking into possibly with the Legislative Affairs Committee to create some sort of standing Madison College policy ad hoc committee. So when individuals for public comment come forward, we can vet their concerns first before we bring it on record. So the issue is, I still think we should create an ad hoc committee to hear from our fellow students that would like us to take on the issue of classroom civility, which includes instructor distracted learning in the form of trolling emails, inappropriate calling out of non-traditional students, along with consuming mass amount of times with reviewing long-winded commentary that has me concerned for fellow student veterans who have service-connected learning disabilities, which leads to my second subject, the USERA Act of 1994. This is called the United States Employment Reemployment Act of 1994. This requires when a veteran is in your presence in any business capacity that you create a welcoming environment, distraction-free. It also includes reintegrating veterans from combat back into the classroom or back into the workspace. So what I'm saying that this is not just a student veteran issue. This is a student body issue. That when we're in a classroom and we feel uncomfortable and we're being distracted by this instructor who's going off the grid with Madison College policies, what do? We freeze. We can't say anything. So what I'm saying is we should create some sort of space for students to come forward and express their concerns before bringing it before public comment. And that really is my report for this week. Thank you.
Thank you for that report.
Yeah.
It's very informative.
Yeah.
I'll open it up to discussion, but before I do, I'll go ahead and just, throw it in there. You should probably get this to a resolution. If
Okay.
there's something that you would like to work on.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, I would say work with Advisor Hall and see what it is that, it's ethically moral for you to do. Because you are, the vice president of the affairs. So, knowing that, I will open it up to general discussion now, here and online. VP Burt, just keep in mind, we're only gonna maybe allow 5 minutes for discussion here. Senator Crowder?
I was gonna mention the same thing about writing something up. I don't know, I do think a resolution is a good idea, but I wonder if you've already got something written up, Bert, maybe that's something you can share with us so that we can kind of, for me, I can go back and look at it because I'm kind of curious, like how it compares to, the issue that I'm approaching. And it sounds like, we may be needing to team up because there's multiple points, facets that can be dealt with at the same time.
Absolutely. What I would do is obviously bring before the Senate an agenda, the topics of discussion, let the president look at it, let the standing committees look at it, and then move forward with a resolution. That would be my proposal.
Senator Veal?
Yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you for the veterans that you respect that one. So distracting. So can you emphasize what will cause or what it is a distracting behavior or an action or something? Can we dive in on that a little bit? And what already Madison College offer to students to actually what we have already offered?
So what I have done is I've met with Cole, and rather than take this into public comment and go into detail, what we're looking at is creating some subcategories. How do we as Student Senate view this? One of those subcategories, I just mentioned it, trolling another student in an email. Since when does an instructor have the responsibility to take it into a personal, aggressive adversarial role when we're just supposed to be creating friendly emails? Now, when I went to UW Whitewater, I never experienced any of this stuff. This is really exclusive to Madison College. And that I've come to understand that distraction can be anything. It can be commentary, it could be verbal, nonverbal, it can be getting called out in a college class. I've been called out. I've been called a unicorn in a lecture by an instructor for being non-traditional. And so what I'm trying not to do is put too much passion into it, just to look at the policy and say, where are we vague? Where can we hone in on this? Does that make sense?
Indeed.
Okay, thank you.
I will note for the record, Madison College does have a policy for personnel and for students, code of conduct. So,
Yes.
all right. Any other questions, comments? VP Burt? Senator Bertel?
How would we go about enforcing code of conduct? If we do have a standing code of conduct that discloses those types of actions or behaviors to be.
Pretty sure Advisor Cole and raising, he'll be able to handle this and get you guys exactly the information you're looking for.
Yeah, no problem. This will also be the last question.
Yep.
Unless you move to extend. So in terms of enforcement of student code of conduct or any policy at Madison College, students, typically your first process to go through Dean of Students. Dean of Students is the office that is supposed to take up any type of concern, whether it's going to be anything Title IX related, hate bias related, other aspects like that. And that's where you do like I said, that's the That's where you start. When it comes down to reviewing the policy or advocating for a change in the policy, like what VP Perk bringing up, that's where it can come to us, because we're able to review those policies, and because we're able to sit down, I don't know exactly who we work with on said policies. Maybe it's senior students, we'd have to find out, but then we can work, start advocating for updating or making sure those policies are being enforced in a proper manner, through those ways. There's some other aspects you can get into as well. But with that, you'd have to have, like, there has to be certain situations that would dictate us to say, now we need to do an entire like academic review of, so whatever a certain professor has done over a period of time, that would fall into like the provost or something like that. But typically your first start senior students. Which if you all don't know, student website, Dean of Students has different reporting forms that you can fill stuff out for. From any type of a general incident to something like hate bias related, something discriminatory or other aspects like that. So just know that those are all available to you as well. And I advise anybody to utilize them because I used to have to work with them all the time.
And that's what I said about the ad hoc committee. It's an informal way of approaching it before we go on record.
Thank you for that, Dr. Cole.
Absolutely.
And Senator Crowder did put it in the chat as well, so you all can save that too in the future if you'd like. Thank you, Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Senator Crowder. Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to be moving on. Thank you for that report. Team Development Committee, VP Turner. We're going to go ahead and move on. Public Relations Committee, VP Nichols.
Yeah, so not a ton here, just I will be meeting with Cole hopefully sometime soon. Still gotta schedule it, just about the let me make sure the orientation and involvement fairs that are gonna be going on. I'm working with him more on that and what our presence there will be.
Sounds good. Any discussion, questions? VP Nichols? Anything online? All right, we look forward to it. I'm going to move to advisory report. Advisor Cole.
Yeah, so a couple of things. First, the things to get out of the way. One, we officially will have our first opening for Senate. Senator Andy Moreno Portillo has stepped down. Is that his own choice to do so? He's exploring other options and transferring. So we wish him the best. If you see him, if you do see him often, feel free to talk to him and such, but this is something that worked in the best interest of him. And yeah, we're excited to see it. So that means that July 10th, we will be doing our first kind of intra-semester election process to fill that position. And that's the first time we'll be using our alternates as well. So that information will come out to you all once we get it on the schedule. This will be something discussed by myself and the executive team next week, because we do have a meeting next week before the 4th of July, and that will be on the agenda. So that is upcoming. Secondly, as we work to get into the summer, my biggest thing I want to tell you all is to make sure you are completing the trainings that have been provided to you. The main reason for that is because it gives us some of the background information so we can get set. We've already talked about wanting to pass resolutions. Module 4 and 5, when I open it up, Module 4 deals directly with how to write a bill or resolution. So it's there, the documents are there. It's also on the SharePoint if you want to see that as well. So please make sure you complete those. Not completing your training can result in us withholding your stipend and or hourly pay if you are in that realm as well. Also with completing the training, that's when we can get you send a t-shirt, fun name tag, the Senate jacket, because we're ordering new ones this year. So get all the fun swag. Make sure you get it on done.
You don't get the swag if you don't do the training.
Exactly. And the last thing is that next week we'll be traveling to SGI. So myself and 5 of our Senate members here will be traveling down to Indy next Tuesday. More information to come for that. For all of y'all who are hopefully online or here, you'll be getting an email from me about where we're meeting up, and you'll have to complete our travel waiver because I need just background information on you in case we go to the hospital or something, or I kind of want to stop at the Indy 500 track and maybe something bad happens there. Final destination, get ready. All that to say though, you're excited for that. And then probably end of July, myself and the team that attends SGI will be providing a presentation to you all on what we learned and what we're taking on back, because that is something that should be more consistently done. And we'll be doing so. I think with that, that's everything I have for now. If you do have a meeting with me next week, we'll meet virtually. We're leaving Tuesday morning. So from Tuesday on, if we have a meeting, my plan is to step out of what I'm doing and meet with you.
Nice, very nice report. Any questions? Well, I'll jump in right away. Do you know who's going with you?
The SGI?
Yep.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
It is Senator Sturtsel, Senator Larson, Senator Sindar, VP Matson, and then Senator McCray.
All right, well, that team, hopefully somebody takes some pictures and you guys have a good time, but we want to hear all about, see all about it. Any other discussions or questions for Advisor Cole? Specifically for the open Senate seat? There's a couple of us here that's already been through the process, but more information will come. All right,
Don't worry about, we'll
Yeah, don't
explain
worry
everything
about
to you. It's super easy.
We're gonna move on now. Thank you, Advisor Cole. Report from Special and Select Committees, Student Activity Board. I'll tell you what you guys, what happened at SAB. SAB, we did meet, we spoke.
I was meeting with Ellie today.
Yeah, we spoke about the first meeting we're gonna have next week. Ellie's gonna be chairing it now, would be co-chairing. So we're gonna have a new dynamic to it that was different from last year. There's gonna be some requests happening next week that still preliminary, but we got our eyes on it, we're looking at it, and I'll report back to you guys now. In my next report of what it was about, and the whole dynamic of implementing something new here at Madison College. It was very informal meeting. We spoke just about details and getting it ready for the year. If you guys have any questions, I'll open it up now for questions or discussion. VP Manson?
Quick question. You said I know you're not available to go to Indianapolis with us that week. You're going to be present during the SAB meeting next week, though?
Yes, that'll be a meeting I will be taking in the airport.
Okay.
After I make it through customs.
Yeah, good work.
So, very, very nice. Advisor Cole?
Just for any of y'all who are familiar with SAB, we'll talk about the Student Activities Board once the year kicks off, because it's much more consistent meetings. I am unsure right now if it is going to be a general open meeting to anybody, because the summer reps are the only people that are meeting. It's a group of core 4 or 5 people. Jose chairing it. That's why Jose is present. Quinn will be present because Quinn will be are you not present at this next one?
I'm trying to figure out how it'll fit into my schedule at
This
Government
time.
Institute.
Cool. We'll figure that out. But during the school year, it's open to everybody. So once SAB actually starts, we will let you all know. So if you want to attend, you definitely can. But you might not hear much about it now, besides kind of what they make the decisions for, because it's a very small group that operates in the summer, because they only meet 2 or 3 times max. But during the school year, it's every Friday up until budgets are passed, which is in second semester. And then they will disband for the remainder of the year. So just background information for y'all in case you want to attend. We will have time. It'll just probably happen in September.
And then if they attend SAB, that can be used as office hours.
Yes.
So, in case you guys want to attend, we will be logging those as office hours. Any questions?
New dynamic is just, I'm interested, you got me hooked.
We'll explain that as to Dr. Casper stepping back into his old role. So this is something that he's going to have Ellie. He's going to be there for the first meeting, but after that, Ellie will be taking his spot. So it'll be fun. Good time. Okay, we're going to move on now, though. These committees, bear with me, a lot of them are vacant, but I got to really read through them. Textbook Affordability Committee, vacant. Student Parent Support Group, that's vacant, but I would entertain Senator Crowder if you have anything for us on that subject.
I have no update.
Sounds good, thank you. Student Parent Support Group, that's vacant.
I lie, I have one small
Okay, I read
update.
it
I'm
again.
sorry, I totally forgot.
It's all right.
I
Floor is
apologize.
yours.
There's an event that's being held by the parent committee, which is not technically part of this group, but they've helped like to do funding stuff. And I don't know if it's them or if it's Linda, who is providing, the assistance, but there's an event this coming Sunday where people can bring their kids and they need to sign up for it online. They are looking for people to fill stations. So if there's any student senators, see you later, honey. If there's any student senators that are available, I will pass that information along if no one received it already in email. I think it came out from Linda Lee, who's part of, man, I'm telling you guys, aging sucks. What do you call it? PIE. There we go. Woo! I got it.
Intercultural exchange.
Thank you, because it just went poof out of my brain.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you could drop that information for any senator that wants to attend or be part of it. That'd be awesome. Thank you. Any discussions, any questions for Senator Crowder? In the room or online? Thank you very much. Seeing that, we're going to move on to inclusions and belonging coordinator. That is vacant. I don't think there's any general senator that's been working on anything close to that to report on. So we'll move to reports from regional and metro campuses. Reedsburg, Senator Sindar.
Yep. So Pittsburgh campus is waiting for new semester, and now we have a new suggestion box, feedback box. We will figure out if have any feedback from students or suggestion together. And also, if anyone don't know about Reedsburg campus is mostly nursing and EMT students there, and they have great EMT simulation with the ambulance, and I think they want to have one more ambulance for EMT simulation. I don't know. We will figure it out. I will let you know if I have any update.
Sounds very interesting and very informative. Thank you for that report. I've got a quick question. So have you seen the simulation and what is that composed of?
So it is like I don't know, did you see any EMT ambulance? It's like have a bridge and in down have ambulance and they can just slide down to ambulance. It's like firefighters. It's kind of interesting. And inside the ambulance have person is also simulation. And other kind of EMT stuff I don't understand, but
All right.
it's a great, like a garage. They have all the equipment they need, and they also have some VR stuff in some class, so they can simulate for nursing, human body, and other stuff. That's great.
All right. Thank you for that. Any other questions or discussions that we have for Senator Sindar?
Just a very brief question.
Senator Sturgill, go ahead.
Yeah, is it, the people that are being simulated on, is it an actual like live actor? Because sometimes we'll have live actors or we'll have the vitalized dummies. Like, is it an actor or is it one of the vital?
So it depends. They have a VR room. In the VR room, they have a simulation inside the VR. So just students need to take the VR and body is there, a simulated body. They also have dummies you talk about, and maybe, but I'm not sure. They have real body too, but I need to ask that and I will let you know.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, see none, we're moving on to Watertown, and that is vacant for the time being. Moving on to Leesburg, Portage, Senator McCary.
Everything's pretty quiet at Portage campus. I have nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Senator McCary will just note for the record, something is better than nothing. I appreciate it, bud. Well, now,
Thank you.
Fort Atkinson, that is also vacant. Goodman South, Senator LaRiva.
Yeah, I don't have that much update lately. Based on the last update that I have, we only were just working with the nursing students and for the international students as well. Just a little bit. It's more like how does it call? Damn, I forgot the word. Any iteration that we're talking about, like for international students, is going to be part of the Goodman South enrollment. that's where we're figuring out how much percentage do we have right now and how much of those are gonna be for the nursing students. So we're trying to figure it out. Also, the connection between that and the TrueX, because we know the TrueX also is open for nursing students too. So we're trying. I'm still in contact with the nursing assistants over there and see how like classes can go back and forth for it.
All right, thank you for that report. Just a quick question. How are you tracking to see who's, Goodman South and who's, Truex exclusively?
Like what do you mean?
Who's in the nursing program?
Yeah.
They keep track of that.
Okay. Yeah, so all the information should already be.
And also,
available
yeah,
for-
also I work. Oh yeah, also was talking with the Centris panel. I was more like focusing on that, and the nursing programs that we have over there, because the South, the Goodman South has just the nursing programs for Centris panel and how many classes we're gonna take over there. But it's not chance for the TrueX that has that. It's more primarily for the Goodman South. So we're trying to figure it out how we can do that for the TrueX.
Nice.
Is her name is Sylvia.
Yep. So, Vice Cole?
Just more of a comment. So Senator Lariva, good work with what you're doing. That's actually solid. And for many of y'all, as you begin, I'm just going to use him as an example. So sorry, but good job, Joaquin. We are beginning to start putting together our groups representation amongst the Madison College campuses in terms of shared governance, but also involvement. And so something that Joaquin is doing, which I would implore you all as you begin to work in your committee type setting to be aware of. Goodman South will be having all student organization reps. So we have 16 student organizations here at Madison College from the Senate to Clarion. All Goodman South reps will actually be meeting together at some point to kind of talk about what work that is being done at that campus and how they can advocate for that and bring that back and increase involvement. So without even knowing it, Joaquin's already doing it, which is solid. So many of y'all, as you begin that, that's the type of stuff that we are going to be wanting to look for and kind of setting that precedent. So whether it's between, learning about the nursing campus, honestly, didn't realize that they had the training rooms over in Reedsburg. That's not the right word, I know, but like stuff like that, that's the type of stuff that we definitely are going to want to hear and kind of work on because we're going to see what we can do to collaborate or at least support in that way. So good job to everybody, but I just want to make that note.
Nice. Well, took Vice Cole, yeah, thank you again. Senator Levita is, doing good work. Anybody else have any questions or comments or discussion? Seeing none, we're going to move on. Our reports from College Assembly and Shared Governance Councils. From College Assembly, what we did, I'll report to you guys. Kim Henderson's open to meeting soon. Auxiliary Director for Opportunity. We got together some T-shirts designed for College Assembly. They're going to be sending those out with QR codes. And overall, the T-shirts are sourced from an ethically and responsible source. And, that was a lot of discussion. And, after a lot of consideration, they went with who they thought was responsible and has a good track record. So, a College Assembly is going to be meeting again in the next month. We're going to have a good standard meeting and we're moving forward with the agenda and the 3-year plan and sustainability of college overall. So that's pretty much for the report. If you have any questions, I open the floor up now to questions or concerns or discussion. None in the room, any online? Oh, yep, Senator Villa.
I think they actually did like 2 questions and I think they're really.
I'm interested in meeting for the.
And I'm trying to find those questions. They were like, who has more, I think most leverage, the students or their staff or the decision making
For SAB
for the college assembly? Right?
or for College Assembly? Yeah, for College Assembly, it's shared governance, but it's
You just looking at me?
I'm trying to find it. I just.
no, yeah, it's.
Yeah. So the question you might be referring to along with the T-shirt stuff, that's more or less upon us who are part of the shared governance currently, that those of you who will join, if you do join a shared governance council in the future, will kind of attest to, but for now, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. The t-shirts are not going to be made readily available to anybody outside of shared governance. But a lot of that stuff will be set in stone by the time that we're getting you all into those councils. So if you do want one of those t-shirts, you can do so with that, but they're not available to the public as of yet. So
But they have decided on the source where we're gonna be purchasing those t-shirts from. Any other questions about, college assembly? Done online? Okay. Moving on, academic council, that is vacant. Facilities Planning and Investment Council, vacant. Finance Council, also vacant.
Senator Crowder has her hand up.
Oh,
Assuming
sorry,
we're-
didn't see you there, Senator Crowder. Who do you want me to back up to?
F-pick.
Okay.
So we
Facilities
went to,
Planning, Investment Council, Senator Crowder.
yes.
You have the floor.
So we went to the Reedsburg campus on June 6th. We did a full tour of the building, including the AMLAM simulation, that the Reedsburg senator was mentioning. And talked about like some things that, need to be improved in the building, about how they're trying to get a community room, that fits at least 100 people. There is construction that's starting there soon. Don't ask me the date because I do not remember. But just to let you know, there are things that are going to be happening there. And as far as the what do you call it? There's a room where someone pretends to be the dummy that's in the room, that the CNA or the nurse is working on, and basically does the verbal simulation from the room. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And since that got brought up, I thought I'd mention it because I didn't know that existed. And I did hear too the same thing that the Reedsburg Center was saying, is that they're trying to get a second ambulance as well. But they're also trying to get better storage situation there, because right now they have some not ingredients, but some things that are stored cold that should be stored at room temperature. So it was a pretty interesting tour, and we are touring Portage tomorrow. I don't know for sure that I'm going to make that because I have a family member getting married tomorrow. But that'll start at 9 a.m. at the Portage campus. And then they'll conclude and have lunch, which will be pay on your own at a place called Dino's Restaurant and Lounge. And that's the end of my report.
All right, thank you so much for that.
No problem.
Any questions, discussions, or comment for Senator Crowder? You know, in the room, any online? Okay. All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Senator Crowder. The Finance Council, vacant. Information Technology Council, that is vacant, but did you want to have, add any commentary, Senator Vila?
Yeah, so, I'm the co-chair, so, one of the students, requested to actually be part of the meeting, so I want you to let you know that if you're interested, please, talk to me. We will try to be out. The reality is that, it goes, I already presented it, put it on the table, and it has to go on a vote. So it's not only on top of my decision, it's the whole team that it will actually make that decision. And we were working on the refresh policy. The refresh policy is the new software and hardware that we get, and how we take it out the outdated or old system that we have or hardware that we have. So that's what we're working on pretty well. And the meeting standards, right? So it's something that we already did a little bit of look out to actually get some feedback, see how people feel about it. So it was really insightful. That in my report, I just want to say that college assembly, I just want to throw this college assembly meeting, they talk about who should have the loudest voice in campus decision. That was what I was saying.
Yep, okay, yep.
And that was really interesting. I just want to bring that to the table, but that's the end of my report.
Nice. With your report, who asked, or it was a student, what committee? For what,
Yes,
got it right.
John,
All right. We'll open it up for discussion, comments. To the board here for the review. Anything online? All right, Senator Kelly.
Angel, what's it like to be a co-chair?
it's new for me, so managing the whole team, so I'm gonna be brutally honest, they have more knowledge than I do on the subject at hand. So it takes a lot of me reading, getting prepared out of hand, before the meeting. I have an amazing team, Corey and Kelly, they do, personal meetings with me before. And every Friday we meet and we just, go to the agenda. We share, what we want, how we're gonna tackle it. We organize the whole, dynamic that we want. So it's a learning curve. Thank you for asking that question. It's a learning curve. I encourage everyone in this room that foresee any, exposure to actually any sort of, commitment, leadership that you are interested in to develop yourself. It is enriching. It's really enriching, and I thank you for, Madison Technical College for allowing me, a student, to be able to actually, be part of, like-minded people. So I am grateful. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion for Senator Villa? All right, seeing none, we're gonna move on. Thank you, Senator Villa. To do business. Unfinished business. Non-business housekeeping.
Well, we amended the agenda.
That's right.
So I have it on my end, so if you want me to take over for that?
Yeah, if you can. How many minutes do we have?
We'll give 5 minutes for each, but y'all can obviously extend it if you would like to. I'll keep track of my end. Annette, did you have a question?
I was just gonna mention the new business, that's all, you got it.
Yep, not a problem. All right, so, I'll go ahead and, I will keep track. So we'll go 5 minutes. At the 5 minutes, if it's, we've reached it, want to extend it, proper motion procedure, we can definitely do that. With it, because it was the initial, item brought up for new business, the first, point that we will talk about is the, DRS information and conversation from Senator Crowder. Senator Crowder, the floor is yours. When you start, I'll start.
Thank you. So I'm not gonna give a lot of background history. I'm just gonna say that I had some issues with DRS this past year, this past semester in regards to my surgery that I had. I had a total knee replacement. And so from that situation, I'm the type of person who doesn't want to just complain about something, but I offered solutions and sent a share a concern, which is that form that I shared with everyone. And then one of the first concerns I had is the person that I had part of the complaint with was the person who was in charge of resolving it. And I didn't understand how that worked. So that's why I then took it to the board, because I was very concerned about why is the person that's taking care of a complaint that involves them the person that's supposed to resolve it. And I know that's more personal information than I was planning to mention, but I think that's a really important point to note, because I don't know if we have any other policies that are like that. Since then, I've met with Dr. Casper. That was on Tuesday. And we talked about some of the things that I had submitted as far as ideas for, and I'm gonna slaughter this word because I'm so bad at saying it, I don't know, system change, whatever that
Semantics.
short and beautiful word is that people like to use that I can never remember how to pronounce. That's called disability in its full force. But anyways, here, I actually have notes down here. And so one of the things that I think I wanted to make sure you guys knew is that he said, yes, you submitted a formal concern, but you also proposed ideas for improving policy and practice for students undergoing short-term disability situations. Unlike some complaints, which focus solely on personal grievances, mine included broader system change recommendations to help future students. there was an acknowledgement of the policy-oriented approach, that's how we make long-term, constructive, straightforward suggestions for improvement. He recognized that the challenge I noted, that that I worked to resolve the issue on my own, but it just did not go that way. And then that's more personal. I'll go down to here. I think the main thing I'm just trying to mention is that, we do have a voice. We speak not just for ourselves in situations, but oftentimes there are other students experiencing things or have experienced something in the past. And what really struck me is that I was like, if this is happening to me with my big mouth, who else has this happened to? And so I just want to remind people of that. Um, don't feel like you're alone on a situation because you don't know that you're actually alone. And then basically he told me that he was going to talk to our president this fall, and also Student Affairs Council, and that hopefully in August or September that will bring forth some efforts for improving student awareness and education efforts on the role and services of disability resource services. And I'll stop there. Any questions?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and jump right into it. Thank you, Senator Crowder. Yeah, I think, you and VP Burt, you guys have a lot in common as far as this issue and being very passionate about it. I think if you got together and just keep Cole in the loop to make sure everything that we're doing and that you're doing, because you're part of Senate, it has ethical and moral motivations, so I know that may be hard. I know you guys have, very emotional and, you guys have legitimate concerns and complaints, but just, you guys are board members of the Senate, so just keep that in mind. And, with that, I will open up the rest of the floor for discussions and questions or comments.
I'd like to echo. When I've had issues with adjustable chair, okay, it's caused conflict in the classroom. It's created nothing but a miserable experience due to the fact that I have physical pain issues. And what Senator Crowder is really saying is that, here's the line. And so what I'm hearing is that we have 2 people in Senate. We have the blessing from the president. So as the representatives of Senate, we're going to go about this diplomatically. And I would like to have everything passed through Cole first before we move anything forward. That's all I got.
So it sounds like a resolution is going to be written up pretty soon.
Yeah.
I think that's the next step. Senator Crowder, if you want to, I can't tell you to write a resolution, but if you wanted to get going with that,
I'm planning to.
you guys.
Definitely planning to work on that. And
Any other
also,
discussions?
I was
Yeah,
just going to mention
ahead.
one other thing. So I am dually enrolled in UW Whitewater, and with just
Nice.
getting my general
Yeah.
disability stuff in place, no problems. Told me everything that was available, offered me stuff that I didn't even know that was available as an option. So I thought that was rather interesting too for my regular accommodations for disability. So I was like, interesting. It was interesting to compare that against my, my regular disability experience too.
Senator Crowder, I'm a Warhawk alum too. So if you need help with any of that stuff, please let me know. I'll gladly support you.
Got time for 2 more questions. Senator Sundar, the hand up.
I think what I understand from Mr. Burt and Annette, they try to do a mechanism which students, if have complaint, they can communicate with the mechanism, because otherwise they're expecting us to just fill that out form and send it. And I support this, and I believe this should include international students too, because I get one problem like that, and instructor a little bit mad to me, and it was weird and annoying situation. And like all international student, I went international student department to share my concern, and it was so fresh, and I was heat, and they just said fill that out that form, but nobody ever even listened to me. And I think this mechanism should include international students' problems too.
And like I said, we're welcome to everybody. Anyone wants to get involved, let's get it.
So, Off of that statement and off of BP's response, I'd say you can join the team in writing this resolution. As many co-sponsors, I believe, the whole Senate can co-sponsor but me. Correct, Cole?
Well, you can sponsor
I can
stuff
sponsor
too.
also.
You just need to have the person who wrote it and one additional, I think
There
it's
we go. That's minimum what we need.
one additional co-sponsor.
co-sponsor.
Unless it's two. I could be wrong. Don't quote me. It's 1 or 2 for sure, but you can have all 18 of you if you want to. It's
So
entirely up
if
to
you want some words put in there for specifically international students and the challenges they face, and then the wording of your, experiences tie into disability, veterans with disabilities. And then we have Senator Crowder that has, experience of herself with differences of a standing institution in our institution with discrepancies of your disabilities. All that wording can be put together into one resolution, and then we can work with it and we can take it from there.
I'll get going on that.
Got time for one more question,
question.
comments.
Comment?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
anybody?
Okay, thank you, Senator Crowder. Thanks, everybody, for that. That was a very lively and good discussion. Now we can go on to housekeeping.
So we have our second point now.
Second point.
Yep, so this is where we
Amendment.
had, Annette made the motion, then accepted.
Oh, that's
the
right.
agenda
That's
process.
okay. The floor is yours. We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, so we'll do 5 minutes again. This is follow-up from the June 5th meeting on the TCES 10 update as well as the wait list. So we'll go 5. So probably go longer because it sounds like many of y'all might have questions, which is fine. We'll just go from there. So go ahead.
Yeah, I feel as if we didn't get enough time to just touch up on a lot of the feelings. I was left with a lot of confusion. I have kind of a couple concerns that I want to address. So I type it all up, so. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to bring attention to a concern regarding the college's proposed residency-based prioritization and the course and program declaration process. Under the Wisconsin Technical College system, Madison College is required to prioritize in-district and in-state students for limited access programs such as the nursing program, as stated. While this aligns with state's funding goals, we must also recognize its unintended consequences, especially for international students and out-of-state students. These students are already investing more financially. They pay higher tuition without receiving state subsidies. Yet under this policy, they may face reduced access to programs, despite being equally qualified. Some may be waitlisted or excluded entirely after all Wisconsin residents have been served. We need to ask ourselves, does this align with our college's mission of inclusion, equity, and opportunity? Are we valuing diversity and global perspectives these students bring? And are we ensuring transparency so students actually understand how these policies affect them? I'm not opposing the need to support our in-state population. I'm asking that we balance that with compassion and fairness for all students regardless of residency. I propose we request an equity impact review of this month. I advocate for a small percentage of seats to be reserved for non-resident and international students in high-demand programs, and encourage the college to create a transparent, student-friendly guide that clearly explains how the declaration and waitlist process works. That isn't just a technical issue, it's a matter of values. Let's make sure we stand for fairness, transparency, and access for every student here at Madison Area Technical College. These students call this campus home. Thank you. So there are a lot of moral things brought in that chapter. I think it has a subtle way of barring international students or out-of-state students. I know that a percentage of our students, a great percentage of our students are international or out-of-state. We are very affordable. And MATC is built on inclusion and building a home for everyone. But the willingness to accept this chapter 10 without even possibly getting it reviewed. I mean, we did take a little bit of time to ask questions, but I felt even more confused. I'm wondering if.
Oh, yeah, they were just introducing it to us.
Yeah,
So it's still preliminary. It's not live yet.
it's not live until 2026, though.
So,
Spring.
let me know if there's gonna be a it's gonna reach a lot more committees, a lot more eyes. There will be a vetting of the policy. I can just say that off the bat. I know how the mechanism. But knowing your concern and knowing the issues that you brought up, I will open the floor up to discussion. Questions, comments?
Yep. First, I would like to thank you for touching the problem of international students. When I start Medicine Area Technical College, they give me limited options for choosing program. And I would like to do IT, and they give me IT web software, front end, cybersecurity kind of options. And I choose web software development. But last month, when I want to take also extra program IT front end development, because we only have 5 class difference, I learned something and it's made me surprised. Right now, it was already limited, and what I study web software, new international students cannot take it, this program, because they said they don't have enough person class or hybrid class. And I don't think the solution just limit international students, because we cannot provide enough person or hybrid class. I think we can improve our online live class section to hybrid class live section. Also, to mention nursing option. So I feel like international students options are getting lower, lower and lower every day in medicine college. I just want that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. The comments you all took and note those. We have room for time for 2 more questions.
How about somebody makes the motion, because then
Okay.
I'll
we
make
can
that
make sure we
motion.
get everything set.
Motion to extend time, second motion.
Hold on, by how much? Send time by how much?
5 minutes.
Okay.
That's doable.
Five.
Just want to make sure we have it on record.
Okay.
Was there a second?
Yes, there was a second.
Second, correct.
All in favor? Any opposed? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion passed, extended for 5 minutes. Let's start with,
Annette had her hand up first on 9, so we'll go Senator Crowder first and then VP Nichols second.
go ahead, Annette, you have the floor.
So WTCS has a gentleman by the name of Brandon. Do you know who I'm talking about, Cole? I can't think of his last name. I think it begins with
Yeah.
T.
Uh,
He might be,
Yeah, right, you.
yeah, he might be a really good person to ask to join one of our meetings to kind of explain what's going on, as long as we, tell them ahead of time what we're looking for, because I feel like this is also something that we would want to take to Wisconsin student government, because there's power in numbers, and since all of the schools have a WSG chapter, it might give us more to amplify our voices with the other colleges. So I would request that we try and get Brandon to come to one of our meetings or to join us online, because he's just really good at explaining things at a student level and letting us know, what is outside of the college's control and WTCS's control, like if anything's federal or if anything is, just state mandated. So I think that's an important aspect for us to understand, because we don't know, or at least I don't know, I want to say, if this is being done on WTCS only, or if this is something that is state or federal to do with our current president's various things he's doing. I'm trying to be nice. So that would be my request, is to give consideration to inviting Brandon to one of our meetings, because I do agree wholeheartedly with what my fellow senator was saying. I just want to figure out what we can do and how we can amplify our voices as quickly and as expediently as possible. Thank you. Oh, I make a motion, by the way, to invite Brandon to one of our meetings to specifically talk about this issue.
You gotta have a name for me. I can't just,
I can't think of his last name. I can look it up. I have him in my email somewhere.
All right.
We had one at 5:38, now we have one at 5:40. What about the last one? Did we include the last motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All motions have been passed.
Thank you.
So with this motion, Senator Crowder, did you want to formally make a motion now?
Yes, Brandon, his last name is Truji. I think that's one ILLO. And he works for WTCS system, or the college, to invite him to one of our meetings to specifically talk to us about this particular policy and how if there's any federal or state mandates or anything like that, because he's just really knowledgeable and stuff like that. Thank you.
Okay, so if I hear this correctly, you're making a motion to have Brandon T come to Student Senate and inform us of the policy and give us a quick little breakdown of it, just a more in depth than the one we just had.
Yes.
Okay, do I hear anybody second?
Second.
BP Ari seconds. Andy opposed? Any discussion?
Good. Now you have to call it. You're gonna do vote by unanimous.
We'll do vote by unanimous consent. If you have, if you agree, don't say anything. If you don't agree, and you want to close the motion, or you speak now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Motion is approved, and it is the responsibility of the Student Senate. We will get that out to them and get them to come as early as convenience. All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, VP Nichols.
Yep, all right.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with everything that's been said so far. I know last semester I was in a class where over half of them were international students and who were not allowed, were like told that they couldn't participate because of some reason or another, and were even in some cases told that they had to take specific classes before, like unrelated, like before they wanted to do something else. Like they had to take like success classes before they could begin their actual education. And then they were deprioritized. I forget his name, but he like kept trying to reach out to people all throughout, like to try to like get into certain programs and do certain things. And he just kept getting like sort of deprioritized and sort of like pushed to the bottom of lists and stuff. And no one would ever really get back to him. And he was, not only that, he was struggling with, he didn't, like, English wasn't his first language, he was still learning it. And there was no one to like help him with any of that sort of stuff either. He wasn't offered any resources on how to like communicate better or anything. And so I definitely think that MATC is like, it's a very inclusive space, but it is actively, or I shouldn't say actively, but it is definitely creating a sort of negative experience and negative sphere for a lot of these international students who come here for one reason or another, because of cost, because of so many different reasons. And, you know, instead of getting treated equally or being given all the same opportunities as everyone else, they're being treated as second-rate students. And I think that, you know, creating something formally or like to like make sure that that doesn't keep happening is important, since we're supposed to be their representatives as much as the rest of the students here.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a very good comment as to discussion, as to the concern, Senator Sturtzel, that, you know, brought up to us. I will say that this policy is not aimed to make international students' lives harder. That's, from my understanding, nobody here at the college wants to make any international students' lives harder. It's just sometimes it ends up happening that way. So whatever we can do to best help solve that problem, be part of the solution. And I totally agree with you there.
Got one more person online for your last one. It's Senator Lariba.
Senator Oliva, you have the floor. You're going to be the last question, and we're going to close it out.
Well, I was not having any questions. I was just like adding, like what you said before. I mean, for international students, I feel like they open so many opportunities, but at the same time, I think like there's really like small amount of what is for classes, and even more they put it some really basic levels. So, like as a person, I study like in a year for an institution called Wesley, and that helps like to study English and all that, and they help me like to pass the credits. And I study English also high school in my country, and everything was transcript. But when I put it to Madison College, none of the credits were taken though. So I need to start all over again, and I don't know how that is going to be involving international students that also are coming from other countries that also took classes, they have the knowledge of it, but they put in just really basic class and really basic classes for it. I don't know how is that gonna like affect our other students as well. Because I personally suffer for that, and maybe there was like a struggle in the beginning, and maybe I feel like it was 50-50 beneficial just because um I mean, I can learn the like American system and everything, but also it was just like adding a more one more semester just like to transfer, or like another semester just to add more classes, and it's more time for us.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that we're getting kind of away from the reason why we're here right now. So the agenda was amended to speak of, the nursing program specifically. And I think we're getting into the whole experience of international students, which I am totally a fan of. We need to stay on track with the one issue at hand, and then we can move on to more of a general writing of a resolution to support the international students.
With that, if we don't have time, make another motion or one more minute or so.
I mean, if you did give a question.
Yeah, one more question.
You could just ask the
Yeah.
question. It's fine,
Right,
but
it's to you specifically. So just overall, you said out of all like the available feet that you have, right? Want to save a certain amount of them? Are you thinking just like that amount or like a certain percentage? So like if one class is like that big, or one's like that big, will that have more seats available? Or how are you thinking of that working along? Like a percentage of the overall, I would assume, but
Depending on the need, like say, like radiology.
yeah.
Like radiology is a specialist program, in comparison, maybe something more general, like a nursing program. Depending on the need, I feel like the percentage could vary. I think that would be effective in a way to at least allow, handful of international students or out-of-state students, people who are not residents of Wisconsin, which is totally fine, like have access. What really concerned me during the discussion was that our hands are tied and that the international students will never be able to be in the wait list. They just aren't going to be in line. I feel like that it's an injustice to our international students. And I feel like it goes against a lot of our values here at MATC. And in order to really truly advocate for our international students and just say, oh, our hands are tied, I think we have ways to circumnavigate this. I know it is a WTCS guideline, it's a rule for prioritization, or declaration. I understand it's a guideline.
Just
but-
for the time, I'm gonna cut you off there. I'm gonna get to Advisor Cole. You got a comment, question, Advisor Cole?
yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. So here's what I'm gonna tell y'all. If your concern, this is to give you in the right direction. If your concern is what access to courses or other programs can international students take, start with talking with Stephanie Belmas in the Center for International Education. She is your go-to person because she will have much more understanding of it, because part of it might be tied in with your visa status, your F1 visa, and how that ties into the programs available. So I would say start there, and I think that'd be a good place for, if anybody wants to do that and report back on July 10th about that, that would be solid. But yes, kind of like what Jose was saying, bring it on back to the concerns with TCS 10 and such. We'll get Brandon here to talk through that. If it comes from out-of-state stuff, I'll ask Bill Doherty if he can give me statistics on how many out-of-state students we actually have attending Madison College and what is the general program for them. Because one thing I've seen this happen before is we look at a program when we say, just as an example like you're providing, should we set aside a certain percentage for X amount of students? That's actually how we ended up in the pushing for the resolution for the memorandum of understanding, because that same thing where nursing students who were going through the program, they were basically like some rumors were going around that they were going to be told, we're going to give these seats to somebody else while they were kind of going through it. But these were resident nurses in Watertown. So let's look at the data and figure that, because y'all are having good discussion, but I think that's a good place for us to stop and kind of report back to. So if anybody who does have a connection to CIE wants to reach out to Stephanie, if not, I can reach out to Stephanie. I have no problem with that. But I'll reach out to Bill to see as well. But let's come back with that information on July 10th, because this might be a good topic for us to continue.
Maybe we can invite her.
We can invite Stephanie. I know that she's getting ready to travel, I believe, but we can invite Stephanie at the next one. I don't have a problem with that.
And she was just here towards the end of our last session, of the last Senate, so she informed us of a lot. She's very knowledgeable, and if there's a reason why you think something's not working, she can explain to you why it's set up that way. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and close that out. I think that's it for time. We asked everybody to stick around because we're gonna go and do some training, but we can go ahead and adjourn this meeting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion, Senator Setzer, second by Senator. Then it's a vote by
I didn't say his name, say his name.
just say your name, didn't
Okay.
I? Okay, oh, Senator,
Okay.
I apologize.
I just heard senator and I was like, I
Yeah,
didn't know
sorry
what.
about we have a green light. Not fully right now, okay. Paul, we're gonna do the vote by unanimous consent. That means that if you consent, then you stay silent, don't say anything, but if you do not consent online or in person, just say something or raise your hand and we'll discuss. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you so much for your time. Thanks for everybody online. Thanks for everybody here. Let's stick around and let's get the